Hello, friend. Today we are talking about how to romanticize your life. I feel like I've been talking to a lot of people recently who are feeling burnt out, or they're feeling bored, or they're in transition and kind of overwhelmed with it. And in the middle of it, how do you romanticize your life? How do you make it feel magical? Because this has recently come from this book. I'm not all the way through it. I'm maybe a third, almost half of the way through it right now. But it's just this idea of, I don't know, living deliciously, like romanticizing your life, making it feel magical, like being in awe and like grateful for what you have every day. So we're gonna talk about 5 simple ways that you can romanticize your life every day. Before we get started, I will have the planner and journal that I make listed in the description. Also, I'm going through a bit of a transition, so the coaching sessions are very likely going away very soon. So if you want to do those chat sessions, chat about anything you want, those are going away soon. So book those while you can. Those are in the description. So let's get into the first way to make your life more magical. The first way is probably the easiest way. Anytime I come home and I'm just feeling like my house doesn't seem magical. This does not seem like a cozy Pinterest environment. This does not seem like an amazing home environment. I use the 5 senses method, and it's basically where I do one thing for touch, one thing for sight, for smell, for taste, and one thing for hearing. And I have some ideas for you. So as far as touch, that could be like a heated blanket, or cuddling a stuffed animal, or wearing slippers, or a silk robe. It could be doing something with your hands like painting or building a Lego kit or a puzzle. You know, something just relaxing, something that genuinely relaxes you. For smell, sometimes I'll do I used to do a diffuser, sometimes I'll do a candle. I really like perfume. For sight, the number one thing that I do is turn off the big light in the house, and then I put like little tea lights around the living room, or a lamp, or the diffuser that I use has a little bit of an orange glow, or the light bulbs that I have, you can change the color of them to be like an orange or a purple. That is one of the best ways. For taste, I obviously like to get like a tea or a coffee to cozy up with. Part of like relishing your life and finding your life to be delicious is actually like making food that you like. Like avocado toast is just as easy as other food that I make that I don't even like. And so making avocado toast, or recently I got into making poke bowls, and then I'm like, I'm really enjoying lunch, or I'm really enjoying breakfast right now. And then finally putting on a noise that you really like. This could be soft music, could be spa music, piano music, bird noises, nature noises, fire crackling noises. And all of this combined together, if you do one from each of the 5 senses, it automatically just makes a boring night in seem so cozy, so Pinterest worthy. I love it. I use it every time guests come over as well. Not those exact examples, but I do the 5 senses that would be appropriate for guests as well. Okay, the second one is a mindset shift and an action. So I'll get into both. So if you are someone who lives with people, like your spouse or a partner, roommates, family, you live with people, it has been very tempting for me to forego my needs or just kind of stop thinking about them as soon as the other people get home. I'm thinking about not being too loud. What do they need? Are they wanting to do something together? You know, and I all of a sudden make myself very malleable, which is a good trait in general to be, you know, compromising with people. But if you have an anxious attachment style, like I think that I have, or maybe you struggle with being too codependent or being a people pleaser, or struggle with boundaries or saying no, it is too easy to get enmeshed with other people, or to be focusing outward on other people's needs so much to the point where you're forgetting your own. And then when you forget your own needs and you become so focused on them, it actually is doing them a disservice. They actually don't want you to do that. So in talking with my husband about this, the mindset frame that I have said when he gets home, instead of all of a sudden focusing completely on him, I obviously say hi to him, and he and I have talked about this and everything, but I have the mindset shift. What would I do right now if I were single? Because then it lets me know this is what I want to do. So he knows what he wants to do, I know what I want to do, and then if we want, we can come together and compromise. But if I don't even know what I want to do, I'm not in any state to compromise. I just kind of give myself away and mirror whatever he wants to do, or whatever your friends want to do, your roommates want to do, whatever. And so every evening when he's home, I ask, what would I be doing right now if I were single? And then I will go do that thing. And part of the action step is going on solo dates. This was so intimidating to me. Back in February, I started doing this. I decided I was going to go on 1 solo date per week because I just had never really been single. Garrett and I started dating in high school. I never really had a single phase. I was like, I just kind of went from like being enmeshed with my family to being enmeshed with Garrett, and I need to like get out of this. So I started going dancing, and I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know how to dance. And there were nights that I stood there and talked to literally no one, but I started to get out of my comfort zone gradually. And I made goals with myself. Okay, I'm gonna talk to 3 people tonight. And after I talk to 3 people, I don't need to talk to anyone else. And I started talking to more people, and now like I go out to drinks with them beforehand and we hang out, and I just feel like I have friends now, and it's helped me clarify like my values, or this is what I want to do. And then now Garrett does his own volleyball thing, and then now we've started doing some of them together a little bit, and it's just kind of cross-pollinated, and it's made things so much more magical. It was definitely a big hump, but it has been so fun to do solo dates, to go out to, because when you do a solo date, you're the only one making the decisions, and you have to figure out, what do I like to do? And that is an exciting thing when you want to make your life more magical and relish your life. And it's something that I had not fully tried to lean into ever before. The third concept, which I got from this book, is the concept of having gaps in your day. So the default for a lot of people, and the default for me, is I'm doing task A, and then toward the end of that task, I'm thinking about what the next thing is going to be. And then I do that thing. And then toward the end of that, I think of the next thing. And if there's a transition, like if we need to drive to the next place, or if I need to subway to the next place, I put in my AirPods and I'm like doing something on the way there. And what that creates is there's no gaps ever of just thinking. There's always noise in the background. You're always doing something or thinking about the next thing to go to. And so the concept is, when you have like a transition, instead of spending the whole transition thinking about what you're going to do or putting headphones in, actually just like letting yourself be quiet. And the point of that is that's where the best ideas come from. When I think of where did I get my best video ideas, it was usually like, oh, well, I was like in the shower and I didn't have any music going, which is kind of rare because I do have a lot of music going. Or I was on like a car ride with the music off. And so that is where you get these little ideas, these little like bursts of creativity, but it feels like it cannot happen if we don't have little gaps. And something I've started doing is I've actually started just wearing like earplugs. Like you can't really see them, but like I'll wear like earplugs on the train because I'm really trying to hear myself think. And secondly, if I'm not trying to hear myself think, then I want to use it to actually like look around and be grateful. Like I'm in San Francisco, which I think is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And if I just like look up and think, wow, these houses are stunning. Wow, look at the diversity of plant life. Look at how sunny the sky is, and just feeling grateful and really absorbing it in. Because I used to be a teacher, and there is something about when you take in information, it doesn't get locked in or meaningful locked in until you sit there and reflect on it yourself. There needs to be, you consume the information and then you reflect on the information. And what we have right now, like especially with short form social media, it's just like you see something, you don't reflect. You see something and you're just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And it doesn't stick. And I think that's why people have this feeling with short form content, like they're not really getting something from it. Like it's consuming a lot of their attention, but they don't feel like fulfilled. That doesn't feel like it sank in. And I think that that's why people perceive that they get a lot more from reading. And I perceive that I get a lot more from reading. It's because you can read a little bit, you pause and reflect. There's a gap. You read a little bit and you pause and reflect, and there's a gap. And so I'm trying very purposely to create more gaps for pausing, reflecting, and also just looking at things. The next one is a very specific type of journaling. And I do sell the Potential Journal that will be linked in the description. It's part of this yin-yang pair with the planner and the journal. And the journaling is very yin. It's very motivational. What am I proud of myself for? Writing down my dream statement, doing a visualization of the day going perfectly. How can I act in such a way that would align with my values? Like I don't need to add more things to my plate, but how can I just do the same things that I'm going to be doing in alignment with my values? So there's a value cluster exercise, there's a dream statement exercise, but something that is just, it's in so many journals is a gratitude section, and it seems so cheesy, but when I do gratitude journaling, I walk out of the house and I'm like, wow, it is amazing. It's like I'm a different person. I'm like, wow, birds in the sky. And I'm just like, I don't know, this like happy, dopey person almost. And if I don't do it, I notice a huge difference. So I recommend everyone do journaling that orients you toward the positive. What are you grateful for? And in the journal, there's also questions about what am I proud of myself for? Because we're so oriented to look for the negative. What did I do wrong? How did I do something that messed up that might put my safety in danger? That we have to reorient ourselves to what's going well. What did I do great? What am I proud of myself for? Even if I messed up, I'm proud of myself for stepping out of the box. And that's something that I think is really huge. One of the questions in the journal is, what is a failure that I'm proud of myself for? Because it meant that I tried something new. I stepped out of my comfort zone. And 5, the last one is a specific evening routine. Now, anytime there's any sort of routine, I cannot stick with a long routine for very long. It has to be realistic, it has to be easy, or I'm not gonna be sticking with it. And something that happened like in 2020, I downloaded TikTok. I was very, very easily staying up till like 2 a.m, and then I decided I was never gonna be on TikTok again. Haven't been on TikTok for several years. Then I decided, I was like, I should get back on Instagram. I haven't been on Instagram in a while. I don't think that was a good idea. So then I got an Instagram Reels, and I was regularly staying up till 4 a.m., which was terrible for my sleep schedule. Like, I don't know. Hopefully you can't relate, because that was awful. So I decided, I'm like, well, okay, no more Instagram for me. So sorry guys, I'm off Instagram now. But I'm like, that was not good for me. That's not sustainable. I'm not being the type of person that I want to be. So what I did was I deleted the app, but my evening routine, I wanted to replace it with something, and reading 1 chapter before bed or 20 minutes before bed, it has the exact opposite effect of social media. Social media like winds you up, and the light makes you stay awake. Like, some people say that they need social media to go to sleep. No, you need to try reading. Reading is what will actually make you fall asleep, because it doesn't have the light that's waking you up and the stimulation. That's why social media is so addicting, because of the stimulation. Books do not have the stimulation. They're a very slow medium, where you read and then you reflect, and then you read and you reflect, and it's this slow pace that lulls you to sleep. I feel that I sleep better. I feel that I've been more creative. I have more ideas. I feel that I have better attention span, that I can actually like finish things and finish projects. It's fostering a slow attention span, which fosters like patience and perseverance, which are really good transferable skills. So those are 5 simple ways to romanticize your life, even if you feel like your life is boring or very mundane. I think it's the silly things, the carefree things, that really get us out of burnout. And getting in touch with play and with rest is what helps us get out of like hyperproductivity. So if you're interested in the journal or the planner that I sell, those links will be in the description, as well as I do coaching sessions, and my life is in a bit of a transition right now. So those are going away pretty soon, like very soon. So last chance, lock in those chatting sessions, chat about whatever you want. Last chance to lock those in, because those are going away. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.